Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Well, it's that time of the year. Well, that time of the year has just passed, and I'm talking about Christmas. And I'm wondering, is it good to celebrate Christmas? And if it is, why it's good? And if it's not, why it's not? Now, I grew up as a child celebrating Christmas. We had the stockings on the window, on the mantelpiece, and we had made our little letters and we'd write them out and they'd be put in a sack and we'd wait for Father Christmas to come, and we assumed he came down the tree because in those days we had a chimney, and we assumed Santa Claus came and gave us presents. So no credence or credibility was given to the parents for the presents we received. As we've grown older, we still kind of permeate that in the films and in our children. And why do we do that? A lot of us, we don't really know. It's just tradition. We just keep emulating the same thing year after year. Year after year, it gets more expensive. What used to be a little stocking which had lots of chocolates in and a little dolly which will suffice has now become phones, TVs, bikes, drones, presents that cost hundreds of pounds, rings, and all this emotional blackmail and guilt throwing through the advertising mechanisms make people who would not ordinarily buy a certain amount of things feel as though they have to. So now it's become this mechanism for merchants. It's no longer a thing of joy. It's no longer an event where people are happy. Before I left and took my day's annual leave, my week's annual leave, a lady was almost crying. She was so stressed. I haven't done this, I haven't bought that. That one's invited me here. I forgot to get her something. I don't know what to get her. I don't know what to do. Christmas shouldn't be like that. Now, if we think about Christmas historically, we were taught at school that Christ was born on Christmas Day, and they've chosen the day of 25th of December as his birthday. Now, we all know that the 25th of December is nowhere written in the Bible. Some people say it was the birthday of Nimrod or Osiris, and I don't know. And even Jupiter, they say their birthdays was on 25th of December and they're satanic, they worship Satan and blah, blah. I don't know. I haven't got a clue. In researching it, it's the same type of people who are perpetuating that it's their birthday, Nimrod's birthday. So let's get back to Christmas now as to whether or not we should celebrate it. For me, I don't bother with the trees and the lights, and I don't give Con Edison or our British Gas or whoever it is my money to light up all of my house. I don't need it. That's the first thing. Christmas for me is about spending time with family. It's about being a little bit more generous than I would normally be. It's about having a little bit extra, those bits of food that I'm likely to say, oh, I better not. It's a luxury. I better, put that back on the shelf. I take during the Christmas period. I do not scrimp and I do not improvise. Anything that I want, I buy within moderation to eat. And to drink. And that's not necessarily alcohol. That could be any drink. It could be from slur or it could be to a liqueur. But I buy that stuff with the thought that my family may come around, or if they do, I've got something to offer them. And that is what Christmas used to be about. It used to be about having family around. It used to be about going from house to house, different houses, and eating your belly full. That's what Christmas used to be about. Now people stay at home. I'm not bothering with Christmas. Many people stay alone because they want to. They can't be bothered with the hype. Nobody visits anybody anymore on Christmas. People become lazy. Then you've got then of course what has contributed to this is the fact that you can't drink and drive. And so people think, well, if I can't drink and drive, I might as well stay at home and where I can drink myself stupid, if that's the way they are inclined. So we have a situation where we are celebrating Christmas, but we're not really celebrating Christmas. We're celebrating Christmas with a heavy heart. We're celebrating Christmas. We bought things that we can't really afford, that we know we're going to have to spend most of the following year paying for. And, you know, it's not a great feeling. It leaves us feeling heavy. And especially when it's one day. It's lovely watching the children open up their presents. It's lovely watching everybody eat their belly full and thank you for your for the food and your hospitality. But when they all leave and that door shuts and you're there left alone, or with your husband or with your wife or whoever you're with, and the kitchen sink is piled up full of dirty dishes, and you know that you're not getting paid until the end of January, and you've used up all your December savings or weekly shopping or whatever it is, and you're entering the new year with practically zilch, it's not a good feeling. So when we're thinking about Christmas, we need to be moderate and we need to think about it realistically. I don't think that Christmas per se, I mean, a lot of times people say, oh, why buy things over Christmas? You can do that anytime. But a lot of times, it's the only time that people have the time off at the same time, unless people choose to work through that period and get extra money. So it's easier, really, to celebrate Christmas in that way and on that day. And because it's tradition. But I think what needs to stop is the worshipping of Christmas, of having the tree, of feeling the obligation to buy stuff that you don't need, buy stuff, expensive stuff for other people to create an impression. And then when they buy you something that looks cheap or you don't like, you think, oh, why did I spend all that money and I put myself in debt to buy that, and look what I got back? Because that person was probably thinking with their head and not with their emotions. Christmas should not be a competition. It should not be who can get the best present or the most presents. It should not be who spends the most. It's about being with family and being with friends. And for those who do not have family or friends, it's about recognizing those who live alone and making sure that they have someone who they can go to. And if they don't, inviting them to your home. If you know them, of course. That's not random strangers, because you never know. But yeah, I believe that Christmas, and, you know, take away the Christ and the Mass and all this paganism out of it. But the spirit of Christmas is a spirit of generosity, is a spirit of love. And I believe if you are a Christian, you can worship God, Jesus, any time of the year. But that day, rather than it be considered paganism and devil worship, just see it as a time to spend with friends and family, and to be as generous as you can, but not putting yourself in debt. Just be sensible. So that's all I've got to say, and I hope you're looking forward to the new year, and I wish you all a wonderful, safe and fulfilling new year. For us in the UK, we have Brexit to look forward to, or not look forward to, which is on the 29th of March 2019. We don't know if there's going to be a deal in that situation. If there's not a deal, it's going to be a hard Brexit. We do not know, which means that everything is going to be very, very extreme, and there's going to be a hard border between Northern Ireland and Ireland Republic, and it does seem a bit chaotic. But sometimes I wonder if that's by design, whether it's deliberate. There's a lot of parallels between USA and UK in this. You know, a lot of it's motivated by immigration, but immigration isn't really the crux of the matter. There's a lot of other things going on. So we've got to be careful in the new year, what with the politicians, what they're doing with their own agendas, and they do not care about us. So we have to care about ourselves. We have to keep our ears to the ground, seek what's going on, try to look after ourselves, try to look after our loved ones, keep alert and be wise. And that's all for now. Wonderful New Year.